I'm just delighted to be the Senate co-chair of the Congressional Alzheimer's Task Force. Senator Warner is the Democratic chair. It's a completely bipartisan effort. There aren't too many of those in the Senate these days. And I want to thank both George and Trish for their extraordinary leadership as we're joining together to announce the formation of Us Against Alzheimer's, a new national advocacy campaign dedicated to stopping Alzheimer's by the year 2020. I can't think of a better goal to bring all of us together. You know, last night I participated in a symposium on how to cross the partisan divide and work together in a civil way on issues. And the moderator asked the panel before me, what are some issues that we could work together on? And I wanted to raise my hand and say, Alzheimer's research. Surely that ought to bring us all together, whether we're conservatives, moderates, or liberals, Democrats, or Republicans, or independents. Because as Ken showed us in his presentation, Alzheimer's does not discriminate. It does not care what political party you belong to. I'm particularly pleased that Sandra Day O'Connor could join us this morning. Her tireless advocacy on behalf of Alzheimer's patients and their families is legendary, and it's an honor to have her join us as we kick off this effort to find a new way forward in our battle against Alzheimer's. Everyone in this room knows how devastating a disease Alzheimer's is. It imposes a tremendous personal toll and economic burden on both the individual and the family. As someone whose family has experienced the pain of Alzheimer's many times, I know that there is no more helpless feeling than to watch the progression of this dreadful disease. It is an agonizing experience to look into the eyes of a loved one and receive only a confused look in return. In the last year alone, I've lost 2 more cousins to Alzheimer's. My grandfather died of Alzheimer's. My uncle died of Alzheimer's. Another uncle has been diagnosed. It's so prevalent in my family that we refer to Alzheimer's as the family's illness. But my family's not alone. As we've heard today, an estimated 5.3 million Americans have Alzheimer's, more than double the number that was affected in 1980. In addition to the suffering that it causes, Alzheimer's costs in the United States exceed $172 billion a year, primarily in nursing home and other long-term care costs. And that was the point George was making. We are paying one way or the other for Alzheimer's. And as the baby boomers move into the years of higher risk for Alzheimer's, as Ken has pointed out, a strong and sustained research effort is the best tool to slow the progression and ultimately prevent the onset of this heartbreaking disease. For every dollar that the federal government spends today on the costs of Alzheimer's care, it invests less than a penny in research to find a cure. I'm going to say that again because I think this is such a key statistic. For every dollar that the federal government spends today on the costs of caring for people with Alzheimer's, it invests less than a penny in research to find a cure. That simply does not make sense. It's time for us to put our foot back on the accelerator and redouble our research efforts. And that's why I'm pleased to be a leading co-sponsor of the bipartisan Alzheimer's Breakthrough Act, which would double Alzheimer's disease research funding at the National Institutes of Health. And as Sandra Day O'Connor would tell you, today there's no national strategy to defeat Alzheimer's. And that's why Senator Bai and I have teamed up to establish a National Alzheimer's Project Office and an interagency advisory council to create a coordinated strategic national plan for combating Alzheimer's disease. Both of these bills have bipartisan support, so we're looking for bills that would unite our country rather than divide our nation. Why don't we make these bills priorities for the lame duck session?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and again, congratulations to George and Trish for your leadership. Thank you.